Okay, I'm tired of hearing this, so let me tell you how sports work. First, you gotta. After that, you gotta.
Play to win the game.
And if you don't,
We got him on top.
you might just be lucky to go to.
Playoffs.
But that's how it works in a perfect world, and we talk about it all here on the Cash Kelly and AC Sports Report. Let's go. Alright guys, what's going on? This is a Cash Kelly and AC Sports Report. I'm Tim. So, Darrelle Revis is holding out, and by now I'm sure all you guys have heard that. He's been holding out for probably about a week and a half now, or at least that's how long it's been official for. Now, I understand why Darrelle Revis is holding out. I really do. I mean, he had a great season last year. He shut down guys like Andre Johnson, Chad Ochocinco, Larry Fitzgerald. I get that. And you know what? The Jets went far in the playoffs. I understand why Darrelle Revis wants to be paid more. I do. You know, he's making $1 million this season. You know, he deserves more money than that. There's no question. But the Jets have gone in and offered him $5 million, and he said no, which makes sense. He still deserves more than $5 million. Makes complete sense. But coming out and saying, I want to be the highest paid cornerback in the NFL, to me, does not make sense. Here's why. You can be the highest paid cornerback in the NFL and suck. I believe the highest paid cornerback in the NFL is Nate Clements in San Francisco. I don't know. He signed a record deal there. How has that turned out? Do you guys think of Nate Clements as one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL? I know I don't. When I think of cornerbacks, I think of Darrelle Revis, guys like him. I don't think of Nate Clements. You know, when while he might have done a good job there, he hasn't been with the money. So I understand why the Jets are reluctant. Also, next year, there's no collective bargaining agreement. So teams don't want to get stuck paying him $12 and $13 million if they don't know if there's going to be a season next year, which makes sense. Now, why they don't just go in and say, look, for this season we'll pay you $8.5 million is beyond me. Because I think at that point, in a few weeks, if they say that, it makes sense. He'll take it probably for a season, and then he'll be mad this offseason and maybe even force his way into a trade. You know, you never know if Darrelle is more about the money or more about the playing. You can never tell something like that with the player. I'll give you a great example of a guy who I think is more about the money, even though he's a great player and shows up in the clutch. Cliff Lee. Cliff Lee has gone, or basically forced his way out of Philadelphia. And I know everyone wanted the Phillies to keep Cliff Lee, and it looks stupid that they didn't for just 1 year. But the Phillies looked at it and thought, you know what, we're not going to have two stud pitchers. That's just not how it's going to be. So they went and got Halladay, who has been tremendous, probably on the same level as Cliff Lee. They got Halladay, and all was good. Now, people want to complain about that, but Cliff Lee wanted $25 million over 6 or 7 years. Roy Halladay wanted to win. Roy Halladay took $20 million a season. He came to Philly for 3 or 4 years. He's happy, he's winning games, and Roy Halladay wants to win a World Series. That is his number one goal, no questions asked. Cliff Lee, now, you know, I think in the end he'll end up with the Yankees, and that's a done deal. Unless the Rangers, I mean, a lot of people have said that their chances went from none to very slim with Ryan purchasing the team just because they have stable ownership. But still, I mean, I just can't imagine being the big player, which I think Cliff Lee wants to be, one of the highest paid players in the league and one of the biggest faces in the league in Texas. And I understand why Cliff Lee feels that, because he is in a position there where they were very successful this year, they were pretty successful last year, but over the last 10 years haven't been too successful. I understand why Cliff Lee doesn't look at that situation and think, boy, this is a great place, and why he probably ends up with the Yankees or the Angels this offseason, because they've had long-term success, and they're going to be the ones willing to pay them more money. I get that. But I also get the part that Joe Mauer, where he decides to stay in Minnesota for less money just to win, and because he's stuck to his morals. He didn't go say, you know what, I need this extra $3.5 million per season, which, you know, Joe Mauer's making a good chunk of change. $23 million a season is a nice amount. But there's no saying he couldn't have got 27 or 28. He would have. By the Yankees, Red Sox, Mets, one of those teams. Angels, one of those, you know, 160 or $70 million payroll teams. Now, my whole point with this is, if I'm Darrelle Revis and I'm offered a 6-year deal, which I don't think the years are a ton of a problem. Maybe how much money you're going to guarantee over those years will go down, but I don't think it's a ton of a problem. I think the problem is that the Jets just don't feel after one elite season. I'm not saying Darrelle wasn't good before, but he wasn't as good as he was last year. So I think their feeling is, you know, we want to see this for 2 or 3 years, and then maybe we'll guarantee you that money. But the ultimate goal for the Jets has got to be to win, and to pay someone $12 or $13 million, if they're not the best cornerback in the National Football League, you're screwed. Because it's not helping your team win, and it's holding you back from going to get other players. So if I'm Darrelle Revis and I'm offered a 6-year, $50 million deal, or I'm offered a 12 times 6-year, $70 million deal, I know it sounds a bit different. But at some point, I'm just going to say, you know what, I have a chance to win with a young, talented Jets team led by, in my opinion, the best coach in the National Football League, Rex Ryan. Or I have a chance to go to a situation where the talent's probably not even there yet, and they're just going to pay me, and maybe it'll be there, maybe it won't. I don't see why you wouldn't take the $8.5 million, you know, and I think he could even get more from that from the Jets. To say that he couldn't go out and get 10, 50, or $10.5 million, why not? Now there's reports, Jets owner Woody Johnson saying basically he would bet that Darrelle Revis won't play this season. And that to me is just silly. You can hold out, and I get that, and that makes sense. But to hold out the entire season pretty much proves that you're more about the money than playing. You know, in a few weeks, if I'm Darrelle Revis and you still haven't come to anything, I go to the Jets, I say, look, give me a 1-year, $7 million deal, I'll come in, I'll play, I'll put on a happy face for this year, and we'll worry about the rest in the off season. But right now he doesn't need to do that. And I understand that. But in a few weeks he's going to have to make a decision, you know, I'm going to play or I'm not going to play. It's not like this is his first contract to the point where the Michael Crabtree thing last year. The first contract, you want some money guaranteed if you're at the negotiating thing. But Darrelle Revis signed his first rookie contract. He's clearly outperformed that. The Jets have given him the option of taking this 1-year, $5 million deal. And while it doesn't make sense for him to take it, at a certain point, it becomes more of, you know, are we going to come in and win this year with the chance to win the Super Bowl? Or are we going to wait back and say, you know, I'll just hold back this season and wait till you guys pay me or trade me to someone who will pay me? I just think that's so silly. A real competitor wants to be out there. They want to win, and they'll take less money to do it. Joe Mauer's a classic example of that. Tom Brady's a classic example of that. Both of those guys have taken way less money. Tom Brady could have held out this year, but he's a leader. He got into Patriots camp, and that's why I think the Patriots are going to win to that division. Because the Patriots are more experienced. You know, Tom Brady, as much as he's probably thinking about his contract, he's been there before. Darrelle hasn't been there before, and I don't think he understands the ramifications of doing this. If Darrelle Revis holds out the whole training camp, don't you think week 1, if he's there, that he's not going to be up to date with the new playbook if they decided to put any new plays in or anything like that? It just, to me, it doesn't make a ton of sense to hold out the whole training camp for money. You can hold out another week, week and a half, but then you're going to miss basically an entire training camp, and you're still probably not even going to get the money. I don't see the Jets caving in here. They feel like Rex Ryan's style is, I work with who I have here. And last year, we look at this team, they didn't have a ton there. They had, you know, Mark Sanchez, a rookie quarterback. Who knows what he can do? But who else did they have? Kellen Clemens? What are we going to do? Put him in? No. So they went with Sanchez, and they went with Thomas Jones, a guy who is better than LaDainian Tomlinson at this point in his career. They should have kept him, and they're going to pay for that. That's a different story. and they said, look, we're going to give you the ball a ton. We're going to count on you and Sean Green and the other guy that traded in the offseason to the Seahawks, I think. He blew his leg out last year. I can't even think of his name at this point. He returned. Leon Washington, that's it. We're going to allow you guys to carry a lot of load. And they took that load, and they took all the pressure off Mark Sanchez. Jets were a great team because they had a solid defense and offense that worked. Rex Ryan took a team that didn't believe in himself with Eric, non-genius, and he made them believe in themselves and have a lot of swagger. And he did a tremendous, tremendous job there, and that cannot be discounted. But to Darrelle's point here, Darrelle Revis was a Pro Bowler last year. And I understand the whole situation where he doesn't want to risk going into this season and with this same amount of money and, tearing his knee out or blowing his knee out. I understand that. And I understand that the Jets went to the AFC Championship game in a team where it looks like all they can do is go up. But believe me, the Jets can go down. And Darrelle Revis' stats most likely are going to go down. You're telling me that there's not going to be any receivers that learned how he plays this year? Because there are. And, the Jets are going to be a good team. And they're going to be a playoff team. But I don't think they're going to get to the point they are last year. Which drops Darrelle Revis' value. So they're not going to be as urgent to re-sign him when he's still under contract, I believe, after this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Here's the bottom line with Darrelle Revis. The Jets are saying, look, we're not going to work here to bring you in if we don't feel like we need you here. They're putting all the pressure on him. That's how it really is. I mean, the Jets are saying to him, we don't need you here. You need us more than we need you because we're not trading you. We're not paying you. You can come here and take this $5 million or you can sit at home the whole season. Now, people are saying that by Rex Ryan going out and saying he's the greatest cornerback ever, that he's made this look like he's made Darrelle Revis want more money. Well, I guess it's come to the point where you almost have to say, you know what, no. He's not the best cornerback in the NFL. The guy for Green Bay is Charles Woodson. Maybe that's what they have to do. And I don't know. Find me on Twitter, Cash Kelly and AC. Facebook, Cash Kelly and AC Sports Support. And check out our website, KellstarBreakingNews.webs.com. Email us, cashkellyandAC@gmail.com. I'll see you guys later.